Welcome to my latest short rant. Today, I'm motivated by reports from the UK Ministry of Defense that Russian regiments and brigades are generating a third battalion tactical group. And so I want to talk about this latest Russian mobilization, what it means, or what I like to call how Putin is eating his seed stock. And I think it's got some big implications for the future. Okay, what's a battalion tactical group? The short version, a normal regiment or brigade has 3 to 4 maneuver battalions. Those are battalions of infantry or tanks, and a battalion is a collection of 3 or more companies, right? And so we have these. Now there are a lot in a regiment. You not only have the infantry and armor guys who are the guys who go out and close with and fight the enemy. You also have a lot of artillery. Russians have lots of artillery, much more than the United States does. And you have a bunch of other, engineer, chemical, logistics. You have a whole bunch of other stuff in there. But let's just keep it simple, okay? So you got these three to four battalions. And what the Russians do to deploy forces is each regiment or brigade makes a battalion tactical group to deploy. So they take one of their battalions, they take presumably the best one, the one with the best guys, they put their best stuff in it, they reorganize it. So maybe it's an infantry battalion. Well, they bring over a company of tanks, right? And then they add artillery, they add the chemical and engineering and air defense and all that logistics stuff. They give them a support unit, and so they create what they call a battalion tactical group, and they deploy that, right? And so this is contrast with the U.S. where we have brigades. We deploy the whole brigade, but we have our brigades rotating. At one point they're training, they're in kind of an admin phase, and they send their individual soldiers off to school, and then they move into a phase of training the units, the battalions and all. And then eventually the whole brigade gets together and does something and is ready to deploy. The Russians have the idea of, well, we're going to deploy from this regiment, okay, and send off the regiment will be the home base and support for putting together, training up, and getting and deploying one battalion tactical group. That's the normal idea. How's it been working in Ukraine? Okay, battalion tactical groups in Ukraine. From what I've heard, the regiments they deployed their first battalion tactical group, and then they've had to deploy second ones. Right. And so this has been kind of a big deal that they've had to deploy a second battalion tactical group out of their stocks. Right. But now the UK Ministry of Defense reports that these units are now deploying third battalion tactical groups out of the regiments. And this is kind of startling because you're really getting down to the bottom, what's left, right? And, so these guys are going to have the poorest equipment. They're probably being plussed up from old stocks, and we're hearing about them using like T-62 tanks. But there's certainly, even if, they're getting the last stuff, they're also the untrained troops, right? There are a lot of untrained troops, the least trained in the unit, the guys that didn't make the cut for the first 2 battalion tactical groups they sent out, plus reservists that they mobilized. And so, these guys are going to be bad. But I really think the amazing thing about this is, where is your base for future mobilization? These, you're doing away with, you're kind of sending the last. Right. And the idea of their system was they would always have this base of troops training up and being there. And if you're deploying this, you're really sending away your base for future mobilization. And this is going to have long-term negative impacts on Russian force strength and their ability to generate forces. And this is going to cast a shadow for years on Russia. And, it really, it's bad that Ukraine is going to have to deal with these guys, because even untrained folks, that's a lot of forces that are coming at them. But they really are eating their young, or as I say, they're eating their seed stock. If you have a farm, every year, you keep some of your stuff to plant the next year, right? That's your seed stock. But if you eat it, you don't have anything to plant next year. And so this is kind of what I see Putin doing. And so this war keeps getting worse for Russia, even, regardless of what's happening on the battlefield, even as the reports are, oh, they're approaching victory in key city. The story behind the scenes keeps getting worse for Russia.
Thank you for listening to my short rant. I'm Dr. Dave Hayes, and though I teach at Troy University, this video is my own work. Troy University has neither approved nor reviewed the content, so there. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, please feel free. And if you're wondering who would employ a guy like this, or maybe you'd love to be a student, it's not an ad, but I would love to have more students. Feel free to check us out at www.troy.edu. And we're going to end up finishing off listening to Tonight at 8 by Shane Ivers.